Dinky dinky dog.
Five, 4, 3, 2. Fun.
5, 4, 5.
Welcome to another week.
I'm like,
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I feel like it's been a long
Definitely
time.
have natural energy. Right?
Yeah. I feel like it's been a while since we've done a podcast.
It's been a while.
Even though to our viewers it's only been a week. Or no, 2 weeks.
You're giving away how sausage is made.
We definitely didn't film the October one. Or whatever. The Halloween one. But hopefully everybody enjoyed the Halloween month. It was good times. Now, it's Matt Week. We're getting closer to a milestone. This is Buddy Shotz 143. This is Robert Townsend week. So, he's done a lot of stuff. I think, there's definitely stuff people have known for and stuff like that. But this is not one of the things that I had really seen before. So this is an experience for sure. It was nice stuff. Guys, thanks for watching. And I love you. So, please subscribe. And, we definitely appreciate it. I joke around here, but I'm shocked. We almost have 500 freaking subscribers. It's ridiculous.
Whoa.
So, now let's get on to the part of the podcast where we talk about, how much people have seen of this. So, did people see HollywoodShuffle? Yes or no? True or false?
Not true.
Not true. I'm like, shh, I'm homeless. So this one wasn't super surprising. It was actually pretty much the same on both HollywoodShuffle and the comedy specials, Robert Townsend and his partners in crime.
What, 0.0?
No, it was actually,
nice.
We had about a 25% of yes and a 75% of no. So people have seen these before.
Wow. But
I was actually in the majority there. I hadn't seen either one of these, but for me, definitely like his big thing was when he made like the superhero
Meteor
film.
Man.
Yeah, Meteor Man.
Yep.
So, and,
we'll definitely get into Robert Townsend, but
because this is his week. Where the hell is he? Why isn't he on the podcast? This is his week.
I have quite a history with Meteor Man because that came out back in the time when like we would have movie novelizations in the school library. And I saw that novelization, and I was like, dude, a superhero movie, I gotta read this. So I read the novelization of Meteor Man in 1993. And then I saw the movie years later, and I didn't think it was very good. And then years after that, I found out about HollywoodShuffle. And I was like, hey, this Robert Townsend guy is pretty cool.
So, the question is, what were you expecting from the novelization? Did you hate the novelization, and then you watched the movie, and you were like, this is about what I was expecting? Or was it like they were both, like one was better than the other?
I liked every novelization I ever read.
Oh, okay.
But I like the movie less, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But the one that sticks in my mind is I read the novelization for Superman 4. And it was way different than the movie because it was based on the original script, in which they cut a bunch of stuff out of the movie. So I was like, wait, why didn't any of this stuff happen?
Issues. Yeah.
So, novelizations.
The So-Kinds were notorious for cutting the budget to make it seem like they came out ahead. That's cool, though. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know, but I know now.
So I was like, Meteor Man, that's going to be a huge hit. And it was like a big bomb and kind of derailed his career, sadly.
I think that was... And honestly, I haven't seen that movie in like so long. I remember...
It's not horrible, it's just not
I don't really
great.
Remember a bunch about it, honestly. I do remember there was another kind of superhero like that kind of reminded me of that. It was like Blank Man.
Yeah. I never saw that one.
And I remember kind of seeing...
Was that Damon Wayans?
Yeah. Which he's one of his...
Partners in crime.
Yeah. Collaborators. So, speaking of partners in crime, we're going to be talking about Robert Townsend this whole time, but the weird watches this week was Robert Townsend and his partners in crime, which was like, the more I watched this, the more I was like, dude, this is like the pre-Chappelle show. Like, he essentially, like, I feel like Robert Townsend, I don't know, he might not have had, like, the most out of control, like, career, but, like, the more I watched his stuff, like this and then HollywoodShuffle, and kind of, like, read more up about him and stuff, I was like, man, he, like, paved the way for all these, like, up-and-coming people that actually, you know, went on to do huge stuff.
Totally.
So I was like, holy crap. Like, because this right here, like...
it's an HBO special.
Yeah. This one was the third one. The Mutiny Has Begun. Robert Townsend and His Partners in Crime 3. Where he showcased, like, skits, musical guests, alongside, like, up-and-coming and staple comedy talent. Because they had... most famously probably on here is... what was his name?
Robin Harris?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was, while these other people that they had on there that were stand-up were, it seemed like they were kind of like new, but he was giving them a chance to kind of do their thing and show off their stuff, which I was like, man, if anything, this guy's like paying it forward.
Yeah, totally.
So,
I mean,
respect.
He's had a fine career. He just does a ton of TV now and has for lots of years as a director. Which is great, but I think
he's kind of shifted into that role where he likes to direct more.
In a perfect world, though, I think in a just world, he would be a huge star.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of times on this podcast where we talk about, like, you know, in a perfect world or a just world, like Robert Picardo would have been like a Tom Cruise or like Thomas Ian Griffith because they're better actors. They're so good. And I agree. I think that he, in a perfect world, Robert Townsend would be...
Yeah. He's got the goods, for sure.
Was that not... Do you not agree with that?
No, I'm just...
You just thought it was funny that I thought of Robert
I'm picturing Robert Picardo starring in Mission Impossible, and it's hilarious.
It would be Mission Improbable.
Yeah, he's like seducing all like these... Never mind.
He had, like, I remember he started in a bunch of 80s films and stuff. It's usually, like, the Dirtbags guy and stuff like that. And I remember seeing him, like, Robert Picardo. And that's back when he had, like, long, flowing locks. And I think once he started balding, it's, like, for better or worse, that's just kind of how it is in Hollywood. I don't think it's as much anymore. But back then it was like, man, if you were balding, you were kind of screwed. Yeah. So,
yes, you want to talk about this special? I think that's a good point about it. It is very similar to Chappelle's show, for sure. Having said all that, I didn't think the special was all that great. I thought it was kind of a chore to get through, but it had some highlights.
Yeah. I stopped writing down everything at one point and just started writing down the things that kind of stuck out to me. Like, it
just wasn't very funny.
Robert Townsend, like, reminds me if I had my own special because he, like, flies onto the stage by a wire.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah,
and he jumped off the balcony. I was like, whoa.
And at the end of this special, he does, like, a song and dance number, and he has, like, Bobby Brown there in the beginning do My Prerogative, and it's like... I was like, dude, when that happened, I was like, holy shit.
That was slamming, dude. That was awesome. Yeah, that was great. It was definitely a highlight.
Then they took things down and went to this Star Trek parody that I was like, oh no. It was not...
The skits just weren't funny at all.
Well, like, I think the problem was, like...
Swing and a miss.
They had, like, the SNL, like, going on too long syndrome, but, like, they were pre-recorded, so it was kind of, like, too late. So they, like... They threw everything in, and it was like throwing, like, you know, stuff at a wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
So, like, they had this Star Trek parody where it was just, like, literally... They just, like, played all these stereotypes up, and they went to, like, Earth as aliens, but they were, like, you know, they were, like, humans or, like, Klingons or whatever, too, and it was, like... all I put was, like, Star Trek parody went on a bit long. and that's pretty much.
It would have been fine if it was actually funny, but I just thought the writing was kind of lazy.
Yeah, they are.
Like, I liked all the performers and stuff.
Yes, that's
the writing wasn't quite there for me.
Tommy Davison does stand up.
He's great. Big fan.
I put pretty cool. He has other people come on and showcase, which we already talked about that, but I thought that was something that was really cool. That it wasn't just like this is my skit show. This was like he came out and honestly, like other than the skits, he wasn't really showcased. Like he was his thing, but it was Robert Townsend and his partners in crime, where he's like, hey, check out all these other people, like
He was finally in the soap opera sketch, which was probably the worst one of all of them.
What was it? What was that one? It was like the Young.
It was
and
like
the
a
Restless.
Dallas or Young and the Restless. Yeah.
The dude did a bunch of Michael Jackson material.
And his Prince impression was pretty great.
He did like the guy that sings the Moonlighting theme. He did an impression of him and how you can understand it, and I was like, that was pretty funny. Then they did like something called like the Twilaugh Zone, which I was like,
another pretty rough one. That was
like,
a chore to get through.
I don't know about laugh, but and then he kept doing this thing where he'd be like, ho, and I was just like, where have I heard that before? And then I thought, and I was like, dude, Hacksaw Jim Duggan has been doing that, like, the wrestler, like, since, like, the 60s or 70s, whenever he started. So, like, what? Why is he going? I guess that's probably, like, maybe that's, like, his version of the Arsenio Hall, like, when they used to be like, woo, 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 like, that kind of thing. But it was weird to hear everyone go, ho! And I was like, what? But, so, yeah, at the end,
did Hacksaw Jim Duggan trademark ho? He should have.
It doesn't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing. At first, the audience was like, what's going on right now? Because
yeah, this is definitely a 90s time capsule for sure.
I don't know if like that was exactly like what everyone was expecting. I was like, it like they had all this other stuff on there, and like Bobby Brown came out and did his stuff in the beginning, and then randomly, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Like a Broadway, New York kind of production started, and everyone in the audience was like, what?
Yeah.
But I love that he does a song and dance at the end.
It was
like
fun.
I said, it seems like something I would do and have done already on the podcast many times.
But to me, it was totally worth it for Robin Harris to come out at the end and then like totally destroy. I thought it was great.
They had another singer on there too.
Yeah, she didn't do much for me. I forget her name.
She did the theme for Hollywood Shuffle.
Oh, really? I didn't put that together. Nice. But it reminded me, I hadn't thought about this in so long, but my dad was a huge Robin Harris fan, and he would always quote that Baby's Kids bit, and like, small world, small world. He would say that all the time.
I was like, I thought he was good, but I still don't understand what's so funny about that one part. Like I was
just a little kid, like running amok.
Yeah,
and that being like a G. I just think it's funny.
It's annoying, kind of the thought of that. That's probably why that Baby's Kids movie didn't do well. It's because like it's maybe funny for a skit, but it's kind of like turning that into like
turning 1 minute of stand-up material into a movie.
Like kids annoying the fuck out of the audience for like 60 minutes.
So I did some bonus work this week, and I watched a playthrough of the Baby's Kids SNES game.
Nice.
Which, dude, talk about horrible. That had to be unplayable. It was so bad.
A game based on like a fucking shitty movie. I'm sure that was great.
It was like a Simpsons arcades, like beat 'em up style, but like the characters moved so slow, and like the play control was so bad. I was like, dude, it was like horrible.
I wonder, like, whose idea it was to turn that one little line from this stand-up into a movie, an animated movie, where, like, at the time, like, as a kid, I had no fucking clue who Robin, like, was. You know what I mean? I didn't know who this guy was. Mm-hmm. And so, when he was, I'm like, he voices his character in the movie, I'm assuming, right?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
So, I don't know. That's the correlation.
I think the movie came out after he passed away.
So they had someone else do it?
Yeah.
So they did it based on like a stand-up that he did. Well.
I also, probably the biggest laugh was he's like talking about how much he hates his wife, and he's like,
Yeah.
sometimes I hope I just come home and there's an ambulance and they're taking her out. And I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's a lot of this
Maybe laugh
reminded
hard.
me of like Rodney Dangerfield kind of humor, which was really funny. Which they talk about like how he was like a big, fan and stuff, but like I watched some of his other stand up, and one of the things he was like, I don't know, he talked about how he was like, he was drinking a cigarette or something, or like, I was like, what? He was smoking something, and I was just like, I don't understand it.
Nice.
But the rest of the stuff he did on the stand-up was pretty great. I just watched like the first couple parts of like a stand-up somebody uploaded on YouTube.
Nice.
But yeah, that's a shame. He passed away, you said, like a little bit after he did this.
Yeah. There's a really good documentary about him called We Don't Die, We Multiply, which I'd highly recommend.
There's something from the Baby's Kids movie too, that they say. Or that was the tagline. They don't...
Yeah. But if you want to learn more about Robin Harris,
yeah,
highly recommended.
Google it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
Should we move on to the main event?
I do.
Anything else about the special you thought?
There was one more thing that I kind of have to give this guy props, and I didn't write his name down or anything, but there was only one like white guy that was like performing, and he ended up doing like his whole stand up was like he acted like a black person, and I was just like, man, I bet that took like balls to do that in front of all those people there. And he got like everybody was applauding and stuff, but I was like, holy shit, dude, but his stuff was okay. It wasn't like cracking me up or anything, but like
it was something.
Yeah, it was better than like some stand up I've seen.
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck this. What about the Cash Cab? Remember that show? You ready to move on to Hollywood Shuffle?
Yeah.
You're like, nah. So this film came out in '87, and this is pretty much like a film, and it kind of reminded me of like the Mel Brooks films and stuff from back in the day that came before it, because this is essentially kind of like a bunch of different like skits and stuff like that play on the like racial stereotypes of like black people and stuff in film and television, and like and it follows like Robert Townsend's character's like journey trying to be an actor in that like environment, and like what his ultimate decision is through going through that,
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story about like the making of this movie, because he was like a struggling actor just like his character.
Yeah.
For years trying to like get into movies and stuff, and he got frustrated and just decided to like make a movie about it. But there was like no budget for this movie. It was like $100,000. And he used like scraps of leftover film, and it took like 2 years to make it. And most of the people who are in the movie just like did it for free to help him out.
That's what he was saying on the commentary.
Oh, you listened to it?
Yeah, I
haven't heard that.
Yeah, I will say, if you watch the commentary, if you take a shot every time he says, "This was the moment," you'll be dead within the first like 30 minutes.
This was the moment.
Why
does he say that?
Because he gets very like philosophical, and he's just like, he tells a story about like, someone says, "Why did you do, if you keep doing this, you'll never get this," and he goes, "And that was the moment that I thought to myself, and blah 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 and stuff." So he's the only one on the commentary, which I like, because when I listen to commentaries and it's like he's the star, the director, all this kind of stuff, like I want to hear that person talk. Like that's something I hate more than anything, is when I'm listening to a commentary and there's a bunch of people that are like kind of talking over the people I really want to hear from. So it's nice. He
Nice.
had plenty of stuff to say. There was very few times when he wasn't talking, which was great. And I wrote a couple notes down that I'll talk about at the end about
Nice.
stuff. But
But yeah, I mean, this is the Robert Townsend
Yeah.
show. Like, he wrote, directed, produced, like, he did it all.
Yeah. So
For better or worse.
Yeah. So Robert Townsend, of course, stars in this, along with a couple other people that I'm gonna. There's a bunch of other people besides who I'm gonna talk about here, but these were kind of like the main. Robert Townsend, excuse me. Craigus R. Johnson, Helen Martin, Anne Marie Johnson, John Witherspoon, Keenan Ivory Wayans. The Wayans brothers are in this. Paul Mooney, among a ton of other people.
Paul Mooney, the legend.
Yeah. But like we said, this like pretty much tracks his like, you know, thing through that, and it's essentially like it's fiction, but it's not, because a lot of the stuff that he talks about is like, yeah, this actually happened. This actually has like the only things that were kind of like out there, even though they weren't really, were the skits. Like obviously, like they were planned, but it was like that's the kind of stuff, like the parts where like they're looking for somebody and they're like, the person's not black enough, and they were like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, you know, that kind of stuff. So pretty much they just like set the vibe of this film right off the bat, because he's like rehearsing for a role of like a street, you know, like thug or like a pimp or whatever, and he's doing rehearsal in the mirror, and like the acting is out of control because that's what they want, is like, you know,
the most offensive stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. And his brother's helping him like read the lines and stuff, and it's like his family's supportive, but like his grandmother is kind of like, you know, this is kind of embarrassing for you to be taking these kind of roles and stuff like that, which you kind of find out through the film. Like, he has support in that area, but there are other characters throughout the film, like his co-workers, that always shit on him. You know, they're the people in your life that, like, if you have a dream, they like cut you down and stuff. But then there's like a commercial for a character or a show called "There's a Bat at My House" or whatever, and like with Batty Boy, and it's supposed to be like a play on like the character of like in Good Times and stuff like that, like those kinds of characters that are like the out of control like character that's played up, where it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool sax soundtrack. They play the Not Once in a Million, I think it is. I thought I wrote down who did this freaking song, because
I'm not sure.
I actually really liked it, and she did actually the soundtrack for a bunch of the other stuff in this film.
Patrice Rushen?
Yes.
Not Just One in a Million.
Yep.
Nice. What about There's a Bat in My House, Batty Boys theme, sung by Robert Townsend.
So he shows up at his job. He works at this place called Winky Dinky Dog, and his boss is like the legendary
John Witherspoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's hilarious in this.
He's been in a ton of stuff. I'm sure everybody, even if you don't know his name, you've seen him and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But like his
probably most popular for Friday, the Friday series.
His whole thing is like, he started the whole Winky Dinky Dog thing, and he's like, whenever I say the name, it gives me shivers down my spine. Winky Dinky Dog. And he like has his eyes closed or whatever. And it's like they were talking about how he was like the king of improv, and like the part later on when he's like fantasizing how he'll come back and be a star or whatever, and they'll like be kissing his ass, and like the boss is like on the streets like playing with like
hoe-cakes?
Buns and stuff like that, and he's just like, he's like crazy at that point.
Talking about hoe cakes.
Yeah.
But it made me wish Winky Dinky Dog really existed. Like, I'd try a hot dog from there.
Yeah, I mean, the hats were kind of funny. They had like these I don't know, this old school like McDonald's kind of like diner hats or whatever, like, and they had like a hot dog sticking out of either side. But his whole thing is he just kind of he's given excuses for why he can't be at work and stuff to try to go do these auditions.
The audition scene's pretty great.
Yeah, there's a long line of actors waiting to audition. They have, like, you know, people talking to him like, man, you can't be, you know, debasing yourself to do this kind of work, and, you know, you don't want to be...
Don't be a sellout, a butler or a slave. And then they call his name. He's like, that's me!
Yeah, he's like, good luck, my brother. And on the commentary, he was actually talking about how, like, him and... both of them were kind of waiting, and, like, that guy actually existed. He was just like, you guys should be doing this, and they were like, he's right. And then he was just like, see you later. And they call him in or whatever.
That was a big laugh.
So, like, you know, they had a guy that had, like, years of stage acting, and then, like, he gets over there and they're like, you're the worst actor we've seen in our entire life. Just, like, a lot of really funny, like, a montage of people auditioning for these roles.
And of course, like, the producers and director are, like, totally despicable. Like,
yeah, those people.
Hateable.
He was talking about how, like, on the commentary there was like an English like director or whatever at one point that was like, those people were like, they were like, you know, you're not acting like black enough, you're not doing it this way, and, you know, I have to, you know, how's come he won't, you know, do it like this or whatever. And that's when I was like, man, what the hell am I doing? Because he felt so embarrassed. And it's just like, this movie is played for laughs, but it's like a look into, like, the realism of the sad state.
Exactly. I think that's what makes this movie great, is at times it's, like, hilarious, but at the same time, you're in the back of your mind, you're thinking, like, this is really fucked up and real.
Yeah.
Like, this is horrible.
Right.
But to me, like, when I think about this movie, I think about the black acting school scene.
Yes.
That's, like, by far the funniest scene in this movie. It's totally amazing. And it basically, like, sums everything up.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the funniest scenes in any movie that I can think of. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's a pretty out of control scene, but it's played, like, serious, but also for laughs. But it's, I don't know, it's like this whole movie. It's like, there are parts that are serious.
It's very dark.
Yeah.
It's basically, I mean, it's white people teaching black people how to portray different stereotypes,
right,
which is one of the most fucked up things you could ever think about.
Yeah, it's pretty much...
So it's, like, definitely biting humor, for sure.
I think it's pretty much anything like that. I mean, like, anybody... It's pretty much like, you know, anybody trying to tell someone else how to do something when they're not from that background. Like, you know, on the commentary, too, he talked about this time when he was, like, you know, on this set, and there was this dude, like, ripping up everything. He was, like, the set designer and stuff, and he's, like, throwing bread everywhere and, like, ripping up clothes and stuff. And they're like, you know, he's, like, asked the director, like, what's that guy doing? And I guess he was like, yeah, you know, this movie's in the projects and stuff. And he was like, dude, I was from the projects. Like, why the fuck would the bread be ripped up and shit? He was like, this, you know, we live, like, in that area, but, you know, we don't live in, like, we're not, like, freaking, you know, Rabbit or whatever. And he pretty much, the director told that guy to, like, clean that shit up, like, pretty much. So he was like, he felt like that was a win, obviously, because, you know, the way that he pretty much told him. And I was just like, Jesus. And that was just, like, the stuff he said on the commentary.
Yeah.
But I have to give this scene, like, major props just in general, though, because, like, he does a pretty damn good, like, English accent.
Dude, when he breaks in with that English accent, that's the biggest laugh in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I'm Robert Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's doing this, like, ridiculous voice as, like, essentially, like, the character from like what's it called, like Django, like Samuel Jackson's character, where he's like the slave that's like totally all about like the master and stuff, and then like they're like cut, and that's when he's like, I'm Robert Taylor, a black actor, and I was like,
so good.
And that's when they talk, like you said, like black acting school.
You can learn Jive Talk 101.
Yeah, learn to walk black. Learn to be a black street tough, TV pimps, movie muggers, street punks, shuffling 200, epic slaves 400. It was like
so bad.
And like there was a part where like he's like, this is one of my advanced students. He graduated like a year ago or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I've already done like 2 like killers and like like a molester, and they're like, that's what we can do for you.
I play a con who's trying to fuck this new inmate.
It's like... It's
probably the best line in the movie.
It's ridiculous, but it's like... It's like every skit is played up, but it's like... It's rooted in like realism and stuff. Sad realism.
Yeah, it is sad. It really is. There's definitely intent behind the humor in this movie. And really, my only criticism of this movie is like, it totally peaks with black acting school, and it doesn't live up to that.
I don't think that's true. I think there are other skits that are pretty great. Like I like the noir one where he like
it was alright.
I think
they're good.
There's like a funnier spot in that than in this, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
yeah. When we get to it,
nice.
This one winky dinky dog, one with cheese, or 2 winky dinky dogs, one with cheese and one without, and extra dinky sauce. I was like,
that's delicious.
The guy shows up or whatever from
Daddy.
Did your character die in the script? No. Then it's a good script. And he's like, well, what about the art? And he's just like, fuck the art. He's like, fuck the Bible. This is all
about a franchise.
Yeah.
Which is like, that hasn't changed at all since.
That was something he was talking about too, and I was cracking up. One thing that was kind of weird is he orders that food, but he like leaves before he takes it. So.
What? Put it on IMDb goofs.
So I thought this was funny. Welcome to sneaking into movies. They're like movie critics that sneak into theaters. Maybe we should start doing that.
It's basically a parody of Siskel and Ebert in a way. But that was a really good sketch too.
Yeah. They hated Amadeus. Chicago Jones, Temple of Doom. New movie by Dirty Larry.
Yeah.
One of the dudes just keeps calling bullshit on all the films. Says, do 50 bullets in your ass make your day? Attack of the Street Pimps, which was like Night of the Living Dead.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
They're all like like the way they're walking.
Hey girl. Yeah. That one guy's like, he said that like all those guys just did that. There was the one guy that could just do that. He was like, hey, check, and they were like, okay, we'll put it in the film. Cause like you said, like when he went to I guess like the Screen Actors Guild or whatever. And he went to the lady and he's just like, yeah, so I have like a couple people that like I wasn't able to really pay him or anything for the film. And she's like, oh, okay, how many? And on the commentary he was like 60, and he was cracking up or whatever. Nice. And she was like, I think she was expecting like 2 or 3, but she was like, it's okay, we'll get it all taken care of and stuff. But I thought it was just funny that he was just like, he's like, yeah, we just kind of at the end, we just put everybody in, his whole thing of thanking people was to like literally give everyone a credit in the film and have their own little part at the end there where they kind of like...
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. I think that more films need to do that, and it shouldn't just be like, here's the main
Predator
guy. Yeah.
I agree.
We got a part here where we talk about they want an Eddie Murphy type, and a bunch of guys dressed in line for a gig dressed as Eddie Murphy, and they're all like, and actually he said that he's like, oh, you got a movie coming out, I want to see that, like Eddie. and they were like, "Oh fuck!" And like they all watched it like a private screening, and like Eddie had like 15 dudes with him, like like his posse.
Entourage.
Yeah, and like they were watching it, and like when that happened, everybody was just like silent, and he was just like, "Eddie, I'm so sorry, man," and he was just like, "Why are you gonna do that to me? That was hilarious." And he was laughing, and then everybody started laughing. But I guess
nice. I mean, it wasn't attacking him,
right? But I mean,
like good natured. I think
you could see how people would be upset by that.
Yeah.
So. I like this part where he goes to see like his like this barber,
his girlfriend.
No, I meant like the barber, like the older guy.
Oh.
I just thought it was funny because I said that and you said his girlfriend, and then I went, wait, what? But yeah, his girlfriend does work at like a salon or whatever as well. But like he goes to see this like kind of like Yoda-esque type figure that's like, I don't know if that was supposed to be like just somebody he knew or what, or it was like his mentor, I guess. But like essentially he's like, I sold my dream a long time ago, but like don't ever let anybody take your dream from you, Robert. And which that's not his character's name. What's his character's name? It's
Bobby Taylor.
Bobby, yeah. We love Babby. And he comes home and his girlfriend are gonna like make out, and his grandma like sits between him and his girlfriend.
I really liked her in this.
Yeah.
Anne Marie Johnson as Lydia, and I kept thinking she was so familiar. You remember what she was in that we watched?
Well, I know I've seen her in The Heat of the Night, the TV show.
Oh, really?
A lot, yeah. She's great.
Never.
But I know I've seen her in something else, but I couldn't.
I recognized her from Robot Jocks. She was Athena.
I mean, Robert Townsend had nothing but good stuff to say about her. He was like, she's so versatile, and I agree. I really like her.
Yeah, she was really good in this.
She's in, that's something I think one day we're going to have to do is, I want to do like a week where we do like In the Heat of the Night, the movie and the TV show.
I've seen the movie. I didn't even know there was a
TV show. Is awesome.
Huh.
It's got Carol O'Connor in it, and
wow.
Thomas Ian Griffin's in one episode as a carny. It's like one of his only credits, sadly. So this is when we have Sam Ace and Death of a Breakdancer. This is when he like becomes like a noir kind of detective. Cookie Head Breakdancer. His character was like ridiculous. I was cracking up because there'd be like something would happen and it would be like freeze frame. This part was the part, I don't know why this got like the biggest laugh out of me, but he says, I talked to his mother. She hoped he had on clean underwear when they found him. I didn't have the heart to tell her he didn't.
That was a really funny line.
I talked to his father. He didn't believe Cookie was his real son. I didn't have the heart to tell him he wasn't. I was like, Jesus!
Yeah. Like his deadpan delivery was like great.
But it was like that's what it's like, it reminded me of like every really good comedy thing. Like, so many things have done that, like Simpsons, like, so where it's like they hit you with a joke, then they hit you with another repeat joke right after that. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, but like that that woman was actually his mother.
Oh, I didn't know that. Nice.
And the father character, I think he said, was played by like one of the dudes on the old Amos and Andy show. Which I was like, oh wow. They had one of the characters was like Jerry Curl, a guy that like literally was always spraying his hair with like this activator stuff. It
was out of control.
Yeah.
You're messing up someone's pillow.
Yeah. So they have like we're talking about the kind of roles. Huh?
Dude, I totally forgot, but I wanted to.
Yeah,
I took a note of this. The scene when like they meet Batty, and he brings up drugs, and he's like,
yeah, he's like flipping out.
But then they're like, "Don't say drugs around this man. Don't say coke or freebase neither, unless you got some." Another great line.
Yeah. So he has like this thing where he like has a daydream or like I guess a nightmare or whatever about like the NAACP boycotting specifically him for taking this like role or whatever, and like they're like, you know, you're setting, you know, black people back all these years and you're horrible and stuff, and they're at his house and they're like asking his girlfriend, how do you feel? And he's like, honestly, I've thought about it for a long time, and the only solution is we kill Bobby Taylor. And all these like guns and knives come up to his like face like Rampage style. I was like cracking up. I was just like, and the movie he's in is called Jive Time, Jimmy's Revenge, and I was like, Jesus. This is when like the movie gets like more like straight up serious, because his grandma and his brother are watching him on the set, and he's playing this like ridiculous character. It's super stereotypical, you know, like just played
totally
up
offensive,
right? Offensive, and like he finally just like can't stand it anymore. And he's just like, I can't do this. And they're like, what's wrong? You can't say the lines. And he's like, no, I just, you know, this is bullshit and stuff. And then like he does this huge thing, and then everybody else, like his co-actors and stuff, are like, you're ruining it for the rest of us. And it's like, he's essentially like, you guys are fucking idiots and stuff, because they're just playing along with it. And like, but that's kind of how, you know, I think that was the whole thing about this, was like, yeah, like, well, you take the role and you know, look like an idiot to feel like shit, or you don't get work. Which I think that was one thing he was kind of talking about in the commentary too, is he was in a movie that was like, you know, right like before this and stuff, that was really, really, you know, he was like, oh, I got to act and I got to like, you know, do all this stuff, and he's like, okay, I want more roles like that. And like his agent was like, he's like, they only do one black movie a year and you just did it. And he was like, shit, you know, like essentially like really kind of sad, because he had to go back to doing the crap that he was doing before. And that's when he's daydreaming of playing like Shakespeare, Superman, Rambo, stuff like that, where it's like, he was like, why don't we get to play these roles and stuff? And like he was saying in the commentary, you know, it's changed more now, where like, yeah, there are more, you know, roles that you get to play, but at the time that was just not the thing.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Then he was like, he has another daydream where he gets like an Oscar. Like, the winner is Bobby Taylor. He gets an Oscar, and then at the end he does like a commercial for the post office. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep, definitely.
And he's like, because the post office, you know, always has work for you or whatever. Because that was something his grandma was saying. Because she was essentially saying through the whole film, was like, and that's what he ended up saying at the end. It's just like, people were like, it's work, man. And he's just like, there's work at the post office. This is shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's not at the sacrifice of your soul.
Right. But like, the end song was awesome. Then they do like another end credit song where people they do like a rap kind of thing.
Yeah, that was great.
Really cool.
I love when Paul Mooney showed up
as like the leader of the NAACP. Yeah,
so funny. But he's one of my favorites, and I think
he's great.
I learned about him from Chappelle's show.
I feel like he was somebody that was like super influential to like a ton of people, but like not as well known as the people that kind of came after him, to like the broad audience, obviously. Like he is known, but like now he's known a lot more.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like before, you know, certain things. I think that sadly he wasn't like the household name that he is now.
Yeah. But I don't know if he ever would be, because like he does not hold back ever. Like if you listen to his stand up, it is like insane. Like he goes as hard as you can possibly go.
I don't know. I feel like there are other comedians I've heard that are pretty out of control that still got the recognition. I think it was probably, sometimes that happens, you know.
But yeah, I love Paul Mooney. He's hilarious.
Yeah. So some of the stuff I have here that we didn't already talk about in the commentary was they filmed this in 12 days over 2.5 years in his like apartment and stuff like that. So it was kind of essentially, like you said, it was like definitely a passion project kind of thing. And he talked about, like, Peter Demme helped him with a lot of this stuff, like tightening stuff up, and that's actually, he works with, like, other comedians and stuff too. So he worked with, like, Mike Myers, and that's where, like,
really
the "Oh Behave," that kind of stuff, and just tightening their stuff up. And I was like, wow, I guess he's like a megastar now, but like kind of at the time it wasn't as known. And then for that scene with the detective's office where he's in there, he spent close to 4 hours cleaning pigeon shit out of it. That was something he was talking about, and I was just like, he's like, yeah, you can film in there.
Welcome to movie making.
Yeah, and then he had to spend like 4 hours doing that. And I was like, Jesus. So yeah, definitely highly recommend the commentary. I don't really know about the special features because the version that I had for the movie had the commentary as an audio track.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a bare bones Blu-ray of it.
Some of the audio or some of the files or whatever will have like that, like the Criterion version, which is legit.
Nice.
But that's the one I'm talking about is the Criterion version if you guys are interested.
My last note is, like I said, I knew about Meteor Man and stuff, but I didn't really know about Robert Townsend until a few years ago. F This Movie. The main dude, Patrick, wrote a review of HollywoodShuffle, and I read it, and I was like, well, this sounds amazing. So that's how because I'd never heard of this movie before, and that's how I found out about it. So, shout out.
Shout out to HollywoodShuffle.
What's your score for HollywoodShuffle?
Well, I've never seen this film before, like, we talked about and everything, and I think the closest that I have to say to this film is, like, a movie by Mel Brooks, because it was done so, I don't know, just so, it is funny, but it's also, like, there are parts about it that are sadly true. I mean, the whole thing, actually, but, like, that's, I think, what makes it so good. Not, I mean, that part's not good, but, like, that he was able to, like, this reminds me of something like a Clerks film by Kevin Smith, where it's, like, one person's indie passion project.
Put their blood, sweat, and tears and all their money and to make a statement.
Yes. I'm going to give this a 9.95. This is a great movie.
Nice. I'm going to go 8.95. But I do love this movie. My only criticism is, like I said, I think it peaks a little bit too early. But that's a very minor nitpick. This is a great movie, and everyone should see it. I think almost everyone would like this movie. It's just highly entertaining. On top of everything else. And there's meaning behind it.
Just watch up to the Black Actors School and then stop watching after that. That's what Matt says. No, it's a great film. Trying to think, I don't think there's really anything else. Like I said, there was no special features on the DVD or Blu-ray. Or I haven't seen them, so I do know that there was one thing that I found online that's like he went on like a radio program and stuff, and I think that's on the DVD, but
nice.
I listened to like a little bit of it, but it was essentially kind of the same stuff you talked about in the because with the radio people, obviously they're asking all kinds of other questions and stuff, but just not about HollywoodShuffle. They just asked him a bunch about Meteor Man. You're like, the book was great.
So what's on tap for next week?
Oh, man.
Mike, wait.
We talked about Bobby Brown this week, and he was in this episode. No. You know where I'm going with this already? And we're into November, and we're getting close to Christmas. So I think Matt already knows what it's going to be, so I think I'm going to let him... What's it going to be, Matt?
Ghostbusters 2.
Hell yeah.
Starring Bobby Brown.
Yeah. And it's going to be the real Ghostbusters.
Nice.
Specifically, the Halloween door and the Boogeyman Cometh.
Now I regret picking this because it triggered your Bobby Brown.
This is going to be great.
Hey, I'll go into it with an open mind.
That's all I ask. It's going to be awesome. I guarantee it.
And closed arms.
You're like... So...
All right.
Yeah. Next week.
Should be good.
It will be.
Like, I have 80 pages of notes about fucking Ghostbusters.
About the real Ghostbusters.
I do have it on Blu-ray because I got the double disc edition with Ghostbusters 1.
It sucks because they have a lot of stuff about Ghostbusters 1, but not about 2.
Yeah. I wonder why.
I'm gonna... I think I'm like the one person that likes Ghostbusters 2.
Well, maybe I'll join you with a rewatch because I haven't seen it in like at least 10 years.
Yeah. Cool, man.
All right. Well, another episode in the books. Mm-hmm. Until next time.
Wait a minute!
What?
You can't do that! You can't stop the episode like that. You know why?
Why?
Because it's my prerogative.
That's my prerogative.
They say I'm crazy. Hell, I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but I don't give a damn. Getting girls is how I live. Some ask me questions. Why am I so real? They don't understand me. I really don't know the deal about a buddy trying hard to make it right. Not long to go before I win this fight. Don't get me wrong, I really not suit. Ego trips are not my thing. All these really bad films really get me down. I see nothing wrong with 0.95 all around. It's a blizzard, and I can't have money in my pocket and people not talk about me. This world's a trip. I don't know what's going on these days. Got this person over here talking about this film, this person. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. It's my prerogative. I can do whatever the hell I want to do. I'm fucking review these films. Right, Matt? We're out of here. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. Woo! I can do what I want to do. It's my prerogative. It's my prerogative. It's my It's my prerogative. Get to see.
It's coffee time.
Jesus.
What was that?
Yeah, what was that?
That could be a ghost.
Maybe that was like something hitting the top of your house.
Could be.
AKA your roof, the top of your house.
My normal routine.
Shit! The future is what we...
Why it would be important for you to put a tape in it, but it'd be cool looking.
Okay. Because when you put a tape in the thing, you fucking look at the VCR. Yeah. That's where the fucking shit comes off. Also, like, when I smelled it, it reminded me of that time that I was like, yes. And you're like, why would you say yes? You threw up. .95.
I fucked it up. Do that again.
Okay.